Chapter 421, Deceptively Powerful Enemy. Lulan Slash and his group didn't move very far before starting a fierce discussion. Is that guy really God Yichu? This issue had to be made clear first. The battle mage and fan of Yishu among the five of them brought up the topic impatiently. We can't be certain at this moment. But if he really is God Yichu, then the gossip being talked about by everyone would make a lot of sense. Completing the Heavenly Domain challenge at level 50, possessing a silver weapon, no clubs recruiting him. If he really is Yichu, that would all be very reasonable. No, Lulan Slash said. That's true. Quote, another player said, especially the fact that no clubs are recruiting him. I think that proves his identity. With so much commotion around such a talent, even if he's not genuinely talented, the clubs could still pull him in and test him. It would pretty much be taking him in, but at the very least, even if he's not good, he'd attract a lot of attention in a short amount of time. That would be an amazing opportunity for any club. Yet no clubs did things like this. There's no way the clubs hadn't thought of this, which mean that they were being restricted by something. Yichu. If it really is him, then there's nothing they can do. Quote. If he really is Yichu, his retirement will last at least a full year, which means at the earliest, he could return during the winter split. If they wanted to add him to the team, they would have to wait until then before giving him any consideration, another player added. You guys have already given it that much thought? The fourth player laughed. We still can't confirm it, and even if we could, didn't you hear the girl? She's already Yichu's boss. Yichu also admitted it. It looks like he's already found a partner to work with. That girl. I felt like her words weren't very convincing. My guess is that she's still not too confident about this cooperation. She wasn't as calm as Yichu, Lulan Slash said. Then what do we do now? Continue doing what we're doing. As for that guy over there, little BEI, pay attention to him, okay? I feel like you'd be quite interested in doing that, Lulan Slash laughed. Let me, little BEI was that battle mage. As a fan of Yichu, interacting with him would be something he was happy to do. After sending off Lulan Slash, Yishu continued to level. No one talked about what had just happened. Chen Guo wasn't feeling very calm though. Even though Yishu had personally acknowledged that she was his boss, what about herself? After discovering that there were these types of competitors out there, she was beginning to hesitate. Lulan Slash's judgment of her was correct. The current Chen Guo wasn't feeling very confident. She already realized that with Yishu's skill and position and her small amount of capital, she might not be able to help too much. It could even be said that she would be restricting his development. In the Glory Pro Alliance, every year, the two lowest ranked teams would be kicked, which meant that every year, there could be up to 2 teams that would be replaced. As a result, there were plenty of people who invested in a team hoping that it would enter the Pro Alliance. Chen Guo was certain that these investors had much more money than she did. With Yishu's skill and status, if he had an offer, who would refuse it? But what about her? What type of capital she could afford wasn't something others knew. She didn't even know herself. When the time came, she might not even be able to afford the transfer of another pro player. As an owner, being that poor would be a joke. With an investor like her, could she actually help Yishu achieve his dreams? Chen Guo discovered that she hadn't been mature enough when she had made the decision on a whim. Leaving Excellent Dynasty was a small matter. Not watching Excellent Era's matches was a small matter. But wasn't she overestimating herself saying that she would create a team that would beat Excellent Era? What are you thinking about? Please concentrate a bit more. Chen Guo woke up with a start. She looked at her screen and saw that Yishu's Lord Grim had moved past her and grabbed a small monster next to her. Launchers were long-ranged attackers. Having a monster so close to her while fighting and not reacting meant that her mind had gone wandering away. Oh, I wasn't paying attention, Chen Guo gave an excuse. Are you thinking about that guy from before? Yishu asked. A bit, Chen Guo said. What were you thinking of? Yishu asked. I was thinking that if we're going to create a team, then our resources are a bit scarce. Seeking for some cooperation with others might not be a bad idea, Chen Guo said. It's not a bad idea, but there's one problem with it, Yi Shu said. What's the problem? Chen Guo asked. We're not familiar with them, Yi Shu smiled. We just met. Of course, we're not familiar with them, Chen Guo said. That's why they added us as friends. Them saying that they would contact us later was because they're not familiar with us either, Yi Shu said. Talk with them a bit and we'll be familiar, Chen Guo said, but she also felt a bit grieved. She really wanted to rely on her own power to help Yi Shu create a team, but she also felt like she wouldn't be able to accomplish it with only herself. Did they really need to borrow other people's help? Chen Guo was very conflicted. Tang Ru was sitting next to the two of them. She wasn't in the same place as them, so she hadn't heard their conversation with Lulan / They hadn't said much, but she had noticed a few subtleties in their words. Tang Ru wouldn't talk of others' private matters, but if it was about the team, she felt like she had a part in it, so she joined in. Who'd you meet? People who appear to have money, Yi Shu said. Oh, what was his purpose? Tang Ru asked. They seem to want to form a team too, so they asked if I wanted to join, Yi Shu said. Why don't they join ours? Tang Ru asked. Good idea, Yi Shu praised. Chen Guo listened in astonishment. This sister seemed to have overestimated their strength even more than her. How is your dungeon soloing going? Yi Shu was only killing wild monsters. It was a very easy task, so he often helped give some advice to Tang Ru on the side. It's a bit slow, but I feel like I've improved a lot, Tang Ru said. For you, leveling isn't that important. It's more important to practice your mechanics well, Yi Shu said. Are you saying that your mechanics have already peaked and you don't need any practice? Tang Ru said. For now, it really is like that, Yi Shu said seriously. It won't be like that sooner or later, Tang Ru said seriously as well. Then I hope I'll be able to see that day soon, Yi Shu said. Don't be afraid if someone embarrasses you first, Tang Ru said. I'm just afraid that won't have enough time to wait for that moment to come, Yi Shu sighed. Tang Ru was startled by this and also felt a bit melancholy. People couldn't stop nature from taking its course. As a result, the three each had their own sorrows. The atmosphere seemed to have frozen up until Chen Guo suddenly called out, more people are coming. I see them. Melancholy was melancholy, but Yi Shu was still going to do what he had to do and was mindful of what was around him. Because the map was spacious and empty, it wasn't a hard task. He had seen the three heading towards them long ago. He did the same as before and checked around. There were no other players around them. It was just three of them. Yi Shu doubted that the guilds would be so arrogant as to send just 3 players to take him down knowing his identity. They don't have any guild names on them. The 3 players entered their view. After seeing the name above them, Chen Guo started. Be careful, Yi Shu immediately said. If they didn't have guild tags, then it was likely they didn't have any good intentions. In the heavenly domain, the top guilds would also have open accounts. Understood, Chen Guo nodded her head and then reminded Forest Landscape, be careful. The 3 headed straight for them and the distance continued to close. From their equipment and weapons, Yi Shu was able to distinguish their classes. Spellblade, Sharpshooter, Elementalist. After seeing these 3 classes, Yi Shu's mind began to turn. Almost instinctively, he gave the 3 characters an ID. Unfortunately, the 3 IDs on top of their heads weren't the ones Yi Shu was thinking of. Run, Yi Shu suddenly shouted. Run? Chen Guo was startled. No good. Run, Yi Shu's Lord Grim slid back with an aerial fire and flew out. Chen Guo also used an aerial cannon and asked, why run? Forest Landscape was confused too, but since Chen Guo was already asking, he didn't need to say anything. With the movement buff from neutral chasers, his movement speed was also extremely quick. They might be from Excellent Era, Yi Shu said. So what if they're from Excellent Era? Chen Guo didn't understand. Hearing the name Excellent Era, she really wanted to rush at them and beat them up. Their classes, Yi Shu said. Classes? Chen Guo and Forest Landscape looked at their classes: Spellblade, Sharpshooter, Elementalist. The two recalled that these three classes were classes that were used in Team Excellent Era. However, determining that they were from Excellent Era with just that was a bit too excessive. Even if they're from Excellent Era, what's there to be so nervous about? Chen Guo was still talking. I'm talking about Excellent Era, not Excellent Dynasty, Yi Shu said. Chen Guo stared blankly. Are you saying pro players? I can't be certain, but we'll know after running for a bit, Yi Shu said. He had been a part of Team Excellent Era for 7.5 years. As soon as these three classes appeared in front of Yi Shu, he felt familiar with them and had a type of feeling that occurred when one saw teammates. This type of feeling made him even more suspicious of these three characters. If they were only normal guild players, then three players would be greatly overestimating themselves. But if they were pro players, then 3 pro players were more than enough. 3 pro players with a 20-level advantage. There was no god in glory who wouldn't take this seriously. The moment they had been waiting for came in a ferocious manner too. Chapter 422, Stay and Fight. Running away to figure out their skill level wasn't the first time Yi Shu had done this. The first time he used it was also against Excellent Dynasty's people. History repeated itself, except this time, it was now in the heavenly domain instead of the 10th server, from easy to beat Excellent Dynasty players into possibly pro players that Yi Shu had to respect. Yi Shu had chosen the open landscape in order to discover enemies easier, but escaping wasn't convenient. The enemy could also easily figure out their escape route. However, Yi Shu wasn't ready to completely escape yet. He still wanted to confirm his opponent's identities. Yi Shu was undoubtedly the most familiar with Excellent Era's players. Lu Hao's hateful sword wasn't able to trick him. The other pros wouldn't be able to either. Right now, even though they were only running and moving around, every player had small habits that they did. Yi Shu's Lord Grim was using aerial fire to fly backwards, so he was able to see what the 3 players chasing them were doing. The 3 players had come for them. This didn't need to be debated. After seeing them run, the 3 characters didn't hesitate to chase after them. The sharpshooter amongst them turned around and also used an aerial fire. While aerial firing, the character would turn around in midair from time to time in order to confirm that he was still moving in the same direction as his target. Yi Shu saw his movements and rhythm and was now 80% certain he knew his identity. Wang Zi, Yi Shu said. Ah, Chen Guo and Forest Landscape shouted. As former Excellent Era fans, they weren't a stranger to this name. Wang Zi was one of Excellent Era's pro players and used a sharpshooter like the one chasing after them. Then the other 2 are Lu Hao and He Ming, Chen Guo shouted. Lu Hao and He Ming were Spellblade and Elementalist players on the team. Wang Zi didn't have a position in the main roster yet. Lu Hao and He Ming were both in the main roster and their skill in the pro scene were widely praised. Split up and run. Yi Shu didn't answer Chen Guo's question and said this. Split up. Chen Guo stared blankly. Forest Landscape, on the other hand, listened and immediately headed towards a different direction. Chen Guo originally wanted to say that if they split up, they weren't opponents for the pros. But after seeing Forest Landscape run in a different direction, the 3 players completely ignored him and still headed straight for Lord Grim and her. Only then did she realize that splitting up wasn't to drop them off as lures, but rather because Yi Shu's Lord Grim was their only target. Killing off her and Forest Landscape would just be in passing. They wouldn't spend any effort to bother with them. What do you mean run? Let's fight them. Chen Guo suddenly stirred. What do you mean fight? Yi Shu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Going out and fighting is suicide. Use your brain. Splitting up is using your brain. Chen Guo disagreed. That type of plan where you guys run first, while I'll figure something out was something she couldn't accept. Splitting up and running is so that I can focus on myself instead of taking care of you too, Yi Shu said. Yi Shu's honesty once again made Chen Guo want to cry, but she still persisted. You don't need to take care of us. If we die, we die. It's just a bit of experience. It's not like we die forever. You've bound all of your equipment? Yi Shu asked. Don't say it like we're definitely going to die, Chen Guo said. It was just a kind reminder, Yi Shu said. Is your silver weapon bound? Chen Guo asked. It's too late, Yi Shu said. Same for me, Chen Guo said. That's why we can't die, Yi Shu said. Definitely, Chen Guo said. Then why aren't you running? Don't mind me, Chen Guo fumed. She didn't need to send an emoticon in-game, she could just directly glare at Yi Shu for him to see. Okay. Then you follow me, Yi Shu didn't persist. I know my own limits, Chen Guo said, I just wanted to stay and fight, that's all. So what if I die in-game? It's not a big deal. You can send me as bait and I'd be fine with that. You say you know your own limits. What type of value do you have as bait? Yi Shu said. Why are you so blunt? Go die, Chen Guo shouted. Jump to the rock at 1456, 856, Yi Shu suddenly quieted down and his tone turned serious. Chen Guo was a bit confused, but she did as she was told and hastily checked the coordinates. Sure enough, it was a large rock and she ran towards there. It won't be easy to jump on. You have to jump high. Let me see your weight, Yi Shu said. Chen Guo opened up her page. Yi Shu glanced at it. Your weight is a bit high. What are you carrying on you? A bit of spare equipment. The open-minded Chen Guo opened up her inventory and threw out some equipment. Her weight immediately dropped. How is it now? Chen Guo asked Yi Shu. F***CK, so wasteful. Yi Shu's Lord Grim used a falling light blade to get to the ground faster and swiftly picked up everything Chen Guo threw away. Chen Guo was speechless. She was seriously doubting that he was a glory god. Your weight is fine. Go jump. It has to be high. You have to find the right place. Over here, Yi Shu said and told Chen Guo to look at his screen, where his mouse pointed to a spot on the big rock. Chen Guo turned to look at her screen and immediately found the position on her screen. She rushed underneath the big rock, jumped up, aerial fired, and then crashed into the rock and slid down. Pay attention to the angle, Yi Shu said. Chen Guo tried again. This time, she didn't crash into the rock, but she had been too careful with her angle. She missed the rock and failed again. Looking back, the three were quickly closing in. Chen Guo was starting to get very worried. What do I do if I can't jump on? Chen Guo asked. You'll be like a clown who the enemy laughs at, Yi Shu said. Chen Guo heard this and got angry. She tried again and this time, she succeeded. She was a bit surprised that she made it on. How did she do that? And then what? Chen Guo asked after jumping onto the rock. Move back. A bit more. A bit more. Yeah. That's good, Yi Shu directed. This big rock was so big that it was almost like a platform. Chen Guo listened and had chasing haze continue moving back. When Yi Shu told her to stop, she discovered that she couldn't see what was going on down there anymore. And then, Chen Guo asked again. Wait for my order, Yi Shu said. Chen Guo sat there anxiously. Her right hand was on the mouse. Her left hand was on the keyboard. She was ready at any moment to do something complicated. She really wanted to see what Yi Shu was doing, but she knew that her opponents were already close. What if Yi Shu's arrangement for her was very important? As a result, she didn't dare be distracted and stared at her monitor. Her line of sight was completely covered by the big rock. She couldn't see anything. However, she could hear footsteps coming closer and closer, faster and faster. The sounds of a gun firing were getting closer and closer as well. Chen Guo knew that this was the enemy sharpshooters' aerial fire. Had they already gotten onto the rock? Or were they still below it? Or perhaps they were only a few steps away from her. But she didn't dare move. She didn't know what Yi Shu was planning. Maybe he was planning on using her as bait and then doing something after that. Except, Chen Guo looked around and saw that no attacks came onto the rock. This rock was very big. The Spellblade and Elementalist wouldn't be able to reach up here. If the sharpshooter used aerial fire, his recoil wasn't as strong as a cannon, so he wouldn't be able to reach this height either, unless the sharpshooter learned the mechanic skill to directly fly up. Chen Guo thought about it, when she suddenly heard the loud sound of gunfire. It was continuously firing, which meant that it wasn't an aerial fire, but actual firing. Then, she saw a bright flame rush up. She didn't have a full view of it, but from the visual effects, it had clearly been done by the opponent's elementalist. If she could still bear to not look at her surroundings, then she wouldn't be Chen Guo. However, she was still too afraid to move her character, so she looked at Yishu's screen. Bullets and magic were flying all around in Yishu's line of sight. Chen Guo looked at it anxiously for half a minute, but she couldn't see what the situation was. Once he started maneuvering, his character camera would constantly be turning. Chen Guo couldn't figure out what his intent was, but she was at least able to see Lord Grimm's health and mana pool. From the looks of it, the situation wasn't looking too bad. Chen Guo really wanted to know what she could do, but she didn't dare bother Yishu right now. Just seeing his screen spin around, making her eyes go blurry, Chen Guo often only realized after several moments later, oh, that guy just did that type of attack. Chen Guo, who was unable to see anything clearly, finally discovered a smart method. She started looking at Lord Grimm's coordinates, and from there, she could figure out his general direction. However, the coordinates didn't constantly update and only changed every second. In the end, Chen Guo wasn't able to get anything out of it. At this moment, Yishu's left hand suddenly extended out towards her. He shouted, "Give me your mouse." Ah! Chen Guo was startled and let go of the mouse in her right hand in panic. Yishu's left hand grabbed Chen Guo's mouse. His right hand was on the keyboard and he seemed to be moving his character around, while shouting, "Stinger." Chen Guo was a bit confused, but hearing Yishu's shout, she immediately used a stinger. She saw Yishu's left hand control her mouse, aim in a direction, and throw out the stinger. "You can do that." Chen Guo was frozen. Chapter 423, Who Do You Think I Am? Grenade. Chen Guo didn't have enough time to be shocked when Yishu yelled this out. She hastily used a grenade. At the same time, Yishu used his left hand to control her mouse. Her character turned and threw. Chen Guo couldn't tell what was happening on her screen, but because it was her chasing haze's attack, she was able to see the result from Yishu's screen. The 8 missiles that exploded out of the stinger rained down. Explosions burned all around Lord Grimm, but because he was in the same party as chasing haze, he wasn't affected by it. It didn't matter how many missiles exploded on him. There was nothing to worry about. However, Chen Guo wasn't able to see where exactly the grenade had fallen because Yishu didn't look for the grenade. Yishu's left hand returned to his keyboard. The mouse in his right hand swiftly danced around as the battle continued. The scene constantly twisted and turned. Chen Guo could only watch quietly without knowing what was going on. She didn't even know if she should have her right hand go back to her mouse. It couldn't be said that this was the first time Chen Guo had seen someone use 2 computers at once. However, normal players could only at most use one computer's character to follow the other computer's character in order to gain experience. Yishu, on the other hand, was controlling the other character to attack. Even though Chen Guo was the one pressing the key to use the skill, the attack's timing and aim were being controlled by Yishu. In reality, at that time, everything had happened too quickly and Chen Guo had also been shocked. She really hadn't been paying attention to whether Yishu's mouse movements had been smooth or accurate. The next opportunity to see this came quickly though. Chen Guo didn't know what was happening, but Yishu's left hand once again grabbed her mouse. Satellite beam. This time, Yishu shouted out the launcher's most powerful move. Chen Guo was ready. She was already very familiar with how to use these skills. After immediately completing the actions, she looked at where Yishu's mouse was pointing towards. It was moving very slowly. For a moment, Chen Guo couldn't tell if it was because he wasn't very adept with his left hand or whether he was intentionally waiting for some sort of opportunity to appear. Chen Guo only knew that during this instant, the opponents didn't stop attacking, while Yishu's right hand on his keyboard never stopped jumping around. What made Chen Guo even more amazed was that after a flurry of actions on the keyboard, his right hand would even grab the mouse and use a skill. It didn't need to be said how fast his right hand was moving to complete what was supposed to be done with 2 hands with 1 hand. Under such hasty circumstances, Chen Guo really wanted to know how effective the skills he used were. However, Yishu's screen was always revolving around so fast that it made her eyes blur. She truly couldn't see what was happening. At this moment, Chen Guo saw that the satellite beam, which hadn't been released yet, was about to reach its limit. If the skill wasn't used now, it would be wasted. Just as she was about to remind him, the mouse suddenly shot forward and then stopped at a steady position. With a gentle click, the clouds in the sky split apart and a pillar of light descended towards where Yi Shu was pointing it. Chen Guo immediately switched her gaze to Yi Shu's screen. This time, she was able to see clearly that the satellite beam had accurately hit a character. The target was completely enveloped in the pillar of light. Chen Guo couldn't tell who had been hit. The pillar of light split into 6 smaller pillars of light. The other 2 had to be careful and dodge it. In an instant, sand and rock flew out as the entire area exploded with light. Heat missile. After hearing Yi Shu say this, Chen Guo immediately completed the action. This time, Yi Shu didn't wait. His mouse immediately moved and a heat missile shot out from Chasing Haze's cannon. Chen Guo's heart thumped anxiously. Just as the heat missile was about to descend, it looked as if it would hit the giant rock. If that happened, it would explode on the rock and the target wouldn't be affected. However, the heat missile's arc just happened to pass by the large rock and then disappear from view. Chen Guo immediately turned her head to look at Yi Shu's screen, but Yi Shu wasn't looking at the missile. Instead, he rushed towards the target which had been hit by the satellite beam. Chen Guo's Chasing Haze might not have the best equipment, but they were definitely above average. The 3 characters being used by Excellent Era had equipment that were only on par with Chasing Haze's, so being directly hit by such a powerful move like Satellite Beam would definitely hurt a lot. Yi Shu's Lord Grimm had rushed forward along with a flurry of gunshots. At this moment, Chen Guo could see who the target was. It was the sharpshooter. Sharpshooters weren't like launchers that only had long-ranged moves. Apart from gun skills, sharpshooters also had body skills using the leg as methods of attacking. As a result, sharpshooters always had a few points into these body skills. Even if they mainly used long-range moves, they also had a few close-range skills, which could be used when necessary for cases like right now, where the opponent had closed in. However, this sharpshooter's legs seemed as if they were like lead and couldn't get them up. Under Lord Grimm's continuous attacks, he couldn't use any of his skills. For a pro player, being suppressed to this extent was unsightly. Bang! Lord Grimm used a falling flower palm. The unfortunate sharpshooter crashed into the giant rock and bounced back. Yi Shu followed up with a knock-up skill. Afterwards, a beautiful performance was played. The sharpshooter wasn't able to move away from the rock and soon, a white light shone and he was killed. Beautiful, Chen Guo cried out. Though honestly, she had no idea how Yi Shu had crucified the chaser onto the rock. Chen Guo thought that the 2 other opponents would continue chasing and attacking. Her left hand was ready at any moment, while she let go of the mouse in her right hand. She had even moved the mouse a bit towards his side, so he could reach it easier. But then everything suddenly became quiet and it seemed like the battle had stopped. The elementalist's magic could no longer be seen and there were no movements from the spellblade. The 2 enemies seemed to have disappeared. Could they have all been killed already? Chen Guo was surprised. Didn't he say that 3 pro players was too much? How did he just kill the 2 of them off already? Chen Guo didn't know what was going on, but she was too afraid to move her character. She thought she wouldn't be able to see anything from her screen and was ready to look at Yi Shu's screen, when she suddenly discovered something on her screen. She looked carefully and from the large rock, she saw 2 characters running farther and farther away. The rock was big, but it didn't obstruct too much of her view. After Chen Guo saw clearly who the 2 characters were, she confirmed that they were the Spellblade and Elementalist that had been chasing them. The 2 of them seemed to be escaping in a hurry too. Chen Guo scratched her head in confusion, but she didn't want to be too careless. She thought it might be some pro strategy. However, when the 2 characters looked back towards them, her heart leapt. What she had thought would happen didn't happen. The 2 characters really did just run until they disappeared from view. What happened? Chen Guo saw that nothing was happening, so she asked. They ran, Yi Shu said. Ran? Chen Guo didn't understand. Yeah, you can't see it from there, Yi Shu asked. I can see it. I meant why did they run? Chen Guo said. You're too amazing. You scared them away, Yishu laughed. Nonsense, Chen Guo said. She wasn't amazing. The amazing one was Yishu's left hand. But even so, to scare away 2 pro players? Chen Guo felt like that was going too far. Come down. Hearing Yishu say this, Chen Guo's chasing haze jumped down. Yishu gave the equipment Chen Guo had dropped earlier back to her. What exactly happened? Chen Guo continued to ask. Haha, the synergy between my left and right hand made them feel scared, Yishu said. The word synergy had been emphasized by Yishu. Chen Guo stared blankly before suddenly understanding. Synergy? Did they think that I was? Yeah. Though let's hurry up and leave, Yishu said as he moved chasing haze away. That launcher was Su Mucheng? The elementalist who had already run far away suddenly spoke with a bit of lingering fear. Definitely. With that type of control and synergy, who else could that be but Su Mucheng? The Spellblade replied. Yishu's guess had been correct. These 3 players were excellent era pros. The Spellblade was Lu Hao. The elementalist was He Ming. The 2 were both using the classes they were adept at and had a 20-level advantage. They even had Wang Zi's sharpshooter. Against Yishu alone, they wouldn't have had any trouble whatsoever. However, just like how Yishu was extremely familiar with them, they were also extremely familiar with Yishu and Su Mucheng. They had originally ignored the launcher, especially when she threw out the stinger and grenade. They couldn't tell what she was thinking. It was as if she had just thrown them out randomly. But the satellite beam had been too unexpected and directly sent Wang Zi's sharpshooter into the abyss. Even if that might have just been a coincidence, the immediate follow-up from the heat missile had been done so perfectly that there was no way the 3 could believe that the launcher was just randomly throwing out moves and praying they would hit. A launcher who could coordinate with Yi Chu so perfectly. Besides Su Mucheng, who else could she be? Chapter 424, The Mysterious Chasing Haze. Yi Chu and Su Mucheng were without a doubt paragons of the idea that 1 + 1 is far greater than 2. Despite it being a 3v2 and Lord Grimm at a 20-level disadvantage, the instant they realized that the launcher was Su Mucheng, the 3 thought, we made a mistake. After the satellite beam directly hit Wang Zi's sharpshooter and the 6 smaller pillars of light trapped Lu Hao and He Ming, the perfectly timed heat missile right afterwards made them completely give up any intentions of fighting. They weren't matches for the Golden Duo. Even though they weren't happy with it, they still had to admit that rushing in stubbornly would be asking for death. As a result, Wang Zi's character was killed, while Lu Hao and He Ming decided to run away. Su Mucheng, Lu Hao slammed the table. In that instant, his hatred for Su Mucheng might have even surpassed his hatred for Yi Chu. On the side, Wang Zi and He Ming looked at each other. Right now, the 3 of them were sitting together, so communication was easy to do. He Ming was about to say something, when they suddenly heard someone humming nearby, startling the 3 of them. Soon afterwards, they watched as Su Mucheng passed by the window in front of them. The 3 froze. After a long time, Lu Hao asked absent-mindedly, who was that? It seemed to be Su Mucheng. He Ming was also lost in thought. Among the 3 of them, one of them was in the secondary team, the other was in the main team, while Wang Zi was a substitute. As the lowest position player, he got up and stuck his head the window to see. He looked outside and watched as Su Mucheng walked farther and farther away. It's Su Mucheng. After Wang Zi left the window, he was no longer absent-minded anymore. How could she be here? Lu Hao seemed to have gotten even more lost in thought. Su Mucheng had clearly been controlling her character in the game. How could she suddenly appear outside of their window? Was she a ninja? The answer was very simple. It was just that Lu Hao couldn't believe it. Just before, he had been certain that the launcher had to be Su Mucheng, but in the next second, Su Mucheng passed by his window. It was as if she were simply stepping all over his face like it was nothing. Did she really just hum and sing happily? Lu Hao was furious. If that person wasn't Su Mucheng, then who was she? He Ming was a bit more realistic. No matter how much they thought about it, they couldn't understand. If that player wasn't Sumucheng yet was able to coordinate with Yi Shu so perfectly, could they have guessed wrong and that player had really just been throwing out random attacks blindly? But those moves were a bit too precise and accurate. They were also chained so perfectly that there was no room for them to retaliate. Chasing Haze, Wang Zi spoke the character's ID. Is that the name of that player? Lu Hao had fixed his attention on Lord Grimm and had ignored everything else. Doesn't that name sound a bit familiar? He Ming recalled. There was a really popular video of her some time ago, Wang Zi said. He Ming suddenly remembered, the video of that launcher instant kill was this same character? No. What is it? Lu Hao had been focused on the team during this time, so he hadn't paid attention to anything in-game. He Ming opened up the browser and quickly found the video. Soon afterwards, he played the video and the three circled around the computer to watch it. Such a precise and accurate combo definitely indicated that the player was an expert. But it wasn't easy to say how good the player was exactly because her opponent wasn't able to show any of his skill. Apart from the very beginning of the match, where he was able to do a little bit, after the first attack, he didn't even get a chance to struggle. At least, his skill isn't at a pro level. He Ming was pointing to the Blade Master. No sh*t, Lu Hao said a bit rudely. In the middle, there was a clear opportunity to escape, but the Blade Master wasn't able to seize it. This type of skill was far from the pro level. There was no need to point it out. However, this launcher's skill seems to be quite good looking at this short chain of attacks, He Ming said. This video is popular? Lu Hao asked. He Ming really wanted to say no sh*t too, but he would be saying it to the vice captain and didn't dare do so. He just highlighted the view count and said, see, it's very high. Has this person ever been contacted by the clubs? Lu Hao asked. I'm not sure. Quote, He Ming said. Wang Zi stood on one side. He didn't feel like he was in a position to interrupt them, but the two were missing a very obvious but important detail. Finally, he took up the courage and spoke, look at that Chasing Haze's guild. Guild? He Ming asked. He pulled open the video and paused on a good still shot of Chasing Haze. He took a look at the guild name and saw that it actually read Excellent Dynasty. Lu Hao and He Ming stared dumbly. Excellent Dynasty, could it be Sumucheng's alternate account? He Ming guessed. The person controlling that character couldn't have been Sumucheng, Lu Hao. It wasn't possible to immediately appear right outside the window just after playing the game. Go into the guild and take a look, Lu Hao said. As a result, He Ming logged into his elementalist, emotionless magic. Even though it wasn't a god-leveled account, it was still a pro player's account, so it gathered a huge amount of attention. As soon as emotionless magic went online, the guild chat immediately erupted. But right now, the three couldn't care about all this. He Ming hastily checked the guild member list, but found no such character. He looked at the video again and confirmed that he had gotten the name correct. Then, he immediately logged out. Lu Hao was helpless. He could only pick up his phone. I'll go ask. The call was obviously to Chen Yahui. He would obviously be more clear on the character in-game. The pros had no idea what was going on, but as soon as they asked Chen Yahui, they were able to get a clear understanding of the situation. Anyone who was a part of a guild in the 10th server knew that this battle was a challenge by Poplar Beach to Lord Grimm. Lu Hao was stumped for words after hearing Chen Yahui say this. Afterwards, he asked Chen Yahui on this Chasing Haze's skill level. Chen Guo's skill level and character weren't bad. In Guild Excellent Dynasty, she had a decent reputation. But because she wasn't someone who played the game as work like Chen Yahui, no matter how good of a reputation she had, she wasn't a core member of Excellent Dynasty. Chen Yahui hadn't had any impression of her until after the video exploded into popularity. In particular, after knowing that Yi Chu had played on this character, he knew that the owner of this character had some sort of relationship with Yi Chu. He had been thinking of some way to exploit her, but then not long ago, she suddenly left the guild at about the same time Yi Chu created Guild Happy in the 10th server. Seeing this chain of events, it would be hard to say if she had any direct relationship with him, but at the very least, if Yi Chu played on her account, the two should know each other. This meant that her relationship with him couldn't be shallow, right? Lu Hao wasn't able to contain his emotions after hearing Chen Yuhui's explanation. Right afterwards, Chen Yuhui used this chance to ask how the request of killing Lord Grimm was going. This question poked right into Lu Hao's sore spot. Lu Hao replied with a dark tone, "What's the rush?" and then immediately hung up the call. She might be someone in Yi Chu's proximity. Lu Hao told his findings to He Ming and Wang Zi. Is she someone that Yi Chu is training? The two asked. He Ming glanced at the video again. She seems to be quite skilled. Maybe the reason why the clubs didn't try and recruit her was because she had already tried out before? No. That was Yi Chu playing on the account. They seemed to have gotten to know each other a while ago. Lu Hao shook his head. Yi Chu? So you're saying that the chasing haze in this video is actually Yi Chu? Yes. If Yi Chu's the one playing, then it means that her skill level really isn't that good, which is why she needed Yi Chu to come out, He Ming guessed. That's not right either. At that time, the opponent had challenged Yi Chu. However, Yi Chu didn't have a suitably leveled character, so he borrowed it to use, Lu Hao said. He Ming's and Wang Zi's expressions darkened. This meant that they had no way of knowing how good Chasing Haze really was. If she really was as good as she showed today, then she'd undoubtedly be a terrifying force. They had even mistaken her to be Su Mucheng. How scary was that? Right now, they were just hoping that it was all a misunderstanding, but even if she wasn't Su Mucheng, seeing today's performance, she must have been good enough for Yi Chu to use as a substitute for Su Mucheng, right? That would mean her skill level couldn't be much worse than Su Mucheng's. Could the three of them defeat the duo? They couldn't log into their pro accounts to use in-game, right? The three uneasily paced back and forth. He Ming's character had logged off because he had to log into emotionless magic. Lu Hao was stopped there in the wilderness. Wang Zi was at a revive point and was in quite a desolate area. They didn't know what to do right now. Suddenly, Lu Hao's character suddenly took damage and his health rapidly went down. Lu Hao had just been thinking of how to deal with Yi Chu, when he was suddenly attacked. He jumped in surprise and immediately rolled forward, while turning around to look behind him. He saw that it wasn't Lord Grimm. It was a character he didn't recognize at all. The opponent was probably someone who thought he was AFK, so he attacked. This was the environment in the heavenly domain. A 20% experience loss at death was bad enough, but there was also a very high chance of dropping something, which pushed players to PK. As soon as Lu Hao saw that it was some unknown character, he immediately flared up. If even a nobody tried to bully him, how could he bear it? Lu Hao attacked in a fury as if the opponent had killed his father or mother and destroyed the opponent. You're looking to die. HMPH, Lu Hao looked down on the character who had just died. He Ming and Wang Zi quietly wiped away some sweat from their foreheads. It looks like their vice-captain was under a lot of pressure. Chapter 425, A Difficult Start. Excellent Era's three players could truly be said to have come in high spirits and returned disappointed. They had originally thought that it would be an absolutely safe and easy battle, but the sudden appearance of another character made them return empty-handed. The information they received gave them no way of deducing how skilled Chasing Haze really was. For pro players, an opponent they didn't understand was a very scary thing, especially if the opponent was also at a pro level. They couldn't be careless. Even though they didn't care if the characters they were borrowing died a billion times, the problem was, dying again and again with no results would hurt their pride. Unless it was their only option left, they preferred not to shamefully die in order to figure out how skilled their mysterious opponent was. I think, Wang Zi, who had been too afraid to say anything, saw that the two had completely stopped talking, so he started up the conversation again, that Chasing Haze might not be that skilled. Oh, Lu Hao and He Ming both looked at Wang Zi. If she really was as good as Su Mucheng, they wouldn't have needed to run away in the beginning. If they directly contended against us, we might not have the advantage. No, Wang Zi said. After Lu Hao heard this, he nodded his head. You're right. From what you said, it wasn't our mistake in thinking that she wasn't Su Mucheng. But the thing is, It's still hard to say how skilled she is. If she didn't dare to directly confront us, then it means that she's not as good as Su Mucheng. However, Su Mucheng needs Yi Chu next to her in order to perform at her greatest potential. Her ability to deal with close-range situations isn't bad, but it's still one of her weak areas. After all, it's not the style she's used to using. Wang Zi stared dumbly. On the other side, He Ming followed. So you're saying that if you compare this Chasing Haze with Su Mucheng, Chasing Haze definitely has a good synergy with Yi Chu, but it's still hard to say how good she is as an individual? Right, Lu Hao nodded his head. But how are we supposed to figure out her skill and have the guild deal with it? He Ming said. We're being too impatient. The fact that Lord Grimm is Yi Chu is something everyone in the pro scene knows right now. Everyone also knows he's planning on creating his own team to make his comeback to the Pro Alliance. I highly doubt the only ones who are worried about this issue is our excellent era. Are the other guilds really just going to sit still and do nothing? I'll go ask Chen Yahui to switch our accounts with 3 new ones and look for opportunities. For now, we won't attack and just observe them. Lu Hao said. If that's the case, it'd be better if we had more alternate characters to switch to at any time. That way, it won't be as suspicious, He Ming suggested. As for Su Mucheng, pay attention to her from time to time. In the 10th server, she created a low-leveled account to help Yi Chu. Who knows what she'll in the heavenly domain, Lu Hao said. Should we use our team's rules to restrict her? He Ming made another suggestion. It won't work. Those rules were always seen with one eye open and the other eye closed. Unless she becomes completely hostile to us, those rules are useless. As for Su Mucheng, I doubt that the club is willing to cause trouble with her. We can't offend her, Lu Hao ground his teeth. Su Mucheng didn't have any background support her, but she treated everyone warmly and had good relations with everyone in the club from top to bottom. After Yi Chu's retirement, her relationship with the club had turned a bit stiff, but she was still a pro player and showed the attitude a pro should have. Whether it be the matches or the club's activities, she would still do her best. This wasn't the reason for her protective umbrella though. Su Mucheng's protective umbrella was her commercial value. All of the financial benefits that came out of her, such as being a spokesman for their advertisements or being the poster model for their team attire and products, were all a large reason for the club's wealth. In this area, the 3 of them combined couldn't compare to Su Mucheng. The Pro Alliance was being commercialized more and more these days, and Su Mucheng was a walking money tree. Unless there was no other choice, what club would give her up? Yi Chu having no commercial was his fatal wound. Just take note of Su Mucheng and that'll be good. First, we need to figure out what exactly is up with Chasing Haze. The guild Yi Chu created in the 10th server is called Happy. You guys should know that Happy is the name of that internet cafe next to our club. Yi Chu is currently over there as well. For the guild to be named Happy means that he has a very deep relationship with the internet cafe's people. This Chasing Haze might be one of the internet cafe's people. I'll get Chen Yahui to send someone over to take a look. Lu Hao said to the 2 of them, while thinking about the next steps to take. After pondering for a while, he felt like he had been a bit too impatient. Right after knowing that Lord Grimm had entered the heavenly domain, they immediately went to try and kill him. It had been too reckless. How could pro players charge in without knowing the situation? Among the 3 of them, the Elementalist has went offline. In the game, Yi Shu and Chen Guo had left their original leveling areas. Chen Guo searched for the 3 characters' names and quickly found out that the Elementalist had logged off. What's the point in looking them up? For them, one person having several accounts wouldn't be unusual. You have no way of knowing if that's really them playing or not. Don't bother with it, Yi Shu said. That's troublesome. Then any character we see might be them, Chen Guo said. It really is troublesome, which is why we have to hurry and level, Yi Shu said. Right now? Still leveling? Aren't you afraid that they'll call more players to look for us? This time, if our opponents send even more pro players, will your previous method work? Chen Guo said. Along the way, Yi Shu explained to Chen Guo why he had done what he had done. Yi Shu had been making preparations in order to intentionally lure the other side into having a misunderstanding. If it really was a true 1v3, with a 20-level disadvantage, beating 3 pro players would be a miracle. Chen Guo's help would honestly be useless. It was like if 2 grown men were in a fight, a little baby on the side couldn't be considered as a helper. Playing on 2 accounts wasn't easy for Yi Shu either. There was no way he could have done it for the entire fight. He had just used Lord Grimm to create an opportunity and then have Chasing Haze seize the opportunity to make it seem like Chasing Haze was some sort of expert. Whether or not they believed that Chasing Haze was Su Mucheng wasn't a misunderstanding Yi Shu required. Su Mucheng was someone who was always around excellent eras players. Such a misunderstanding that would easily be seen through. It didn't have any value. They might be mistaken for a short moment, but Yi Shu knew that they would quickly see through it. Having the 3 pro players think that Chen Guo was an expert was enough. 3 versus 1 was something they didn't need to fear at all. 3 versus 2, with one opponent being a feared top-tier god and the other being an opponent they knew nothing about. In this type of situation, pro players wouldn't go out and attack recklessly. No one knew these habits better than Yi Shu did. Then where should we go level? Chen Guo asked. Just follow me. Yi Shu clearly had a plan already. Excellent eras players have already put out their hand. What about the other guilds? If they do the same, then how are you supposed to level? Chen Guo was thinking about this issue. If all of the club's guilds allied together to fight against Yi Shu, their strength in the heavenly domain was far more terrifying than their strength in the 10th server. An issue like not having enough players like in Thousand Waves Lake wouldn't happen. Here, the clubs had the strength to topple the mountains and turn the seas to drown Lord Grimm with numbers. Even if Yi Shu was unequaled, he would still make a mistake eventually after a few tries. A single mistake cost 20% of a character's experience in the heavenly domain. With such an environment, how long would it take him to level? Chen Guo was extremely worried, but she couldn't think of any ideas. She could only control her character to follow behind Lord Grimm. She turned her head to glance at Yi Shu. His face was as calm as ever, which made Chen Guo relax quite a bit. After thinking about it for a bit, Chen Guo thought up a countermeasure. Right now, you're really famous. Why not use this opportunity to create your guild in the heavenly domain? The clubs care about their image. With a guild behind you, they at least wouldn't act openly. Yi Shu heard this and laughed. They were never going to act openly. In the heavenly domain, the top guilds have been operating for a long time. How could they not have many open accounts? Even if they acted secretly, they still have more than enough strength, so the guilds really wouldn't care. If we ignored that and created one, it would be very difficult for it to remain. I'm only level 50. I can't even do level 55 dungeons, and even if I could, who would be interested in playing with a level 55? I might be skilled, but my current strength isn't enough to give others any benefit. If they can't get any benefit with me, why would they go to our guild? Join our guild and also get killed. I'm talking about your identity. You have a lot of fans. They won't care about that, Chen Guo said. Yi Shu laughed. You can say that, but who would believe me? Chen Guo stared dumbly. That was true. One of the features of the Glory esports scene was that no matter how amazing a pro character was, they would still have to rely on Glory's continent. As a result, pro players couldn't completely escape from the game. Due to this, there have been many who pretended they were a pro player saying things like, I'm Yi Chu. I'm creating a guild, follow me. To put it plainly, this wasn't the first time such a thing was done. Players had already become numb to these types of words. No one would believe a pro player would come do this type of thing. Later, the Pro Alliance directly set up a rule prohibiting any pro player from doing this. Yi Chu might be retired pro player and wouldn't be restricted by these rules, but no one would be convinced with a casual, I'm Yi Chu. Then have people with status prove it, Chen Guo said.